Welcome for this another discussion.
Hi, Gaurav. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to
Nice to
you.
see you again.
Yeah. So today we have a wonderful topic that has been discussed on various breadth and length of the topic, but is, in my opinion, is kind of the least understood one and is wildly misunderstood one also. And the topic is the surrendering, in general, because they have been authored, a lot of books has been authored on this concept also. A lot of spiritual gurus also speak on this subject. And in general, surrendering is considered and, like imagined as a concept of, giving up either to nature or to supreme energy or to God, whatever we call it. I I personally believe in this topic in a different way. I have my own way to practice this surrendering thing. But I really wanted to go beyond my understanding, go beyond my current belief systems, go beyond my current set of knowledge about this topic, and uh, have you on board to discuss this in as detail as possible so that we can actually learn, the not just the nitty gritty, but also the philosophical side of the subject in a great mix of practical application also, so that something becomes useful for people in their daily life to apply. So, for example, I just take a second, of you to actually explain, how I do it, because when I feel like too overwhelmed with the situations, my small bit of surrendering is to actually go into nature, out of my home, out of my current zone, and be into the nature and tell myself that how small I am, how small my problems are, and how petty my psychological condition is. But now I want to go and learn beyond this from you. So, and also for my audience also.
Yeah,
So help us understand what is this entire concept of spiritual surrendering, and how it flows.
yeah,
Over to you.
yeah. Sure. So, as always, I would like to thank my ancestors for their knowledge and wisdom because without them, we are nothing.
Right.
So, as you know, I always begin my video that way so that we invoke their presence and let the video flow through. So essentially, this is what all about. From a surrendering standpoint. When you look at all the scriptures, irrespective of the ethnic background or whichever religion that you take, it all speaks about surrendering. Even if you take Bhagavad Gita, you take the Bible, and any other scriptures, they all speak about surrendering. Surrendering doesn't mean that you give up your entire physical material and go sit in a cave or give up everything and go there. There's only specific people who have that kind of calling and they go for that religious or pilgrimage, and they give up everything and they go because they had a calling. But for people like all of us, we don't need to give up everything, as in the physical material. We still live in the physical world, but yet we take a balance in the spiritual side of it. So to start with, Bhagavad Gita always Krishna has said that you have to surrender unto me. So the same thing is spoken in the Bible as well, right? That you have to surrender, and then you get saved. So essentially, um, what they mean by surrendering is you let the energy flow. You are not the doer. You become the medium or the vehicle for them to manifest and do all the work that is required into physical existence. So, from formless to form, this is what they are discussing in the Bhagavad Gita and any other scriptures that you take. So, the same, even if you take a look at Shirdi Baba, he has a book written about him and his, by the devotees, it's the same thing. So essentially, all religion speaks of the same nature of surrendering, to the higher realm. Whether you call it God, whether you call it ancestor, whether you call it the five elements, which is the five Panjabhutangal, or you just believe there is a higher source of energy beyond our existence. As we know that all of us came from our mother's womb, right? So when we leave this, we are also considered as going back to the source where we came from. So the universe is considered like a divine feminine, right? The mother nature, right? We consider the earth as a mother nature. So essentially, we have to go back to the nature to connect ourselves to, you know, uh, to understand who we are. So when we say surrender, doesn't mean we have to give up our home, things that we have. Of course, everything has to be on a moderate basis. So when we say surrender, it's a very difficult for some people to comprehend that they when they say surrender, you essentially surrender. For example, we take astrology. We are always constantly going to an astrologer to ask what's next, what's next, what's next. So we have to let go of that. In my journey, I actually understood and I surrendered my astrology under the feet of my higher, ancestors, right? Essentially, I said this is not required because my destiny has been written before I came into this existence. So, likewise, each one of us have a calling as to why we are coming into existence into this earth. We come here to learn the lessons and then take that lessons with us. And in our previous video, we have spoken a lot about this, that when we drop this body, we are not going to, we are not carrying this physical body with us, but we are carrying this spiritual aspect of this body and we convert into a ball of light, right? So this is the essence of that process. So one of the process that I did was the giving up of the surrendering the astrology, because we don't need that. When I surrendered that, I realized that I didn't have to worry about anything at all. What is my next journey, or what am I going to be doing after a year or 2 or 5 years or 10 years and all of that. Because when I did my surrendering like that, I started getting a lot of vision as to why I came into this world. And those visions, most of them are coming into existence already. Yash Foundation is one of them, right? Some of the videos we have spoken previously are all manifestations of my what I have seen, probably in 2013 or even earlier than that, or 14 or 15 and all of that. They have been giving me so many visions along the way. And every single day, they show me what's next, what's coming into the future also. It's not just only related to me, it's also related to what is happening in the world. So, as you can see, what is going on in the current world, I already had, and in fact, you and I have spoken on this trending energy 7 months ago. And this vision came to me at that time, and we shared about it. But as you can see, it's all coming into perspective now, into existence, which they showed us very long ago. So, by surrendering, you're allowing your soul to evolve to the next stage. You're allowing your consciousness to evolve. Your awareness become more focused. You understand the truth. So, it's not just about giving up your family life and then, or you have to become a single all the way, or you have to give up your materialistic world. As I said, it all has to be moderate, right? Even if you're intending to buy so many plots and houses and all that, it all has to be moderate, right? As some of my in the past, People always speak about how much can you eat, right, on a daily basis. You only need a certain amount of money to live in this world, right? The rest, you give it to the needs, right? The people who need it. And then you contribute also your knowledge and wisdom back to the people who require it, right? So surrendering is a huge process that you have to go through. It is very difficult for some people. So I just want to clarify that you don't have to live your family life, you don't have to live your physical, materials as such. But there is a way that you will start to balance your physical material egoism, or I would say, you want to intend desire. Your desires will start to dissipate slowly, one by one. Instead, those desires will become more of what our ancestors wants us to consider in this lifetime, right? What should I have? They will make it ready for us. What do I require after a year? They will make it ready for us. So by surrendering, your energy actually flows. So when you allow those energies to flow, you are actually vibrating at their frequency, yeah, and your energy also flows at their frequency, so that you can connect with them through your third eye. You can see those visions that they're going to show you everything that will manifest from formless to form, from spiritual to physical existence. So I'm just giving astrology as an example, the family, your job, your career, whichever, your business, whatever you're doing. So we think that this is what who we are. When we connect ourselves to a job, or when we connect ourselves to a career, or we connect ourselves to a family, we think this is who we are. But there is something much more beyond that. Yeah. I hope we kind of started off in that discussion.
So actually, like what is this? What is the sort of energy that exists of this particular word surrender? What is the right, uh, like mental state when the true surrendering actually happens? From the energy perspective, because I know your lot of teachings are actually from the energy angle. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. So when you start to surrender, you feel you are no longer a doer, right? This is what the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita also says, right? Let me be the rider of the chariot. So I'm just sitting in the chariot, but I'm not the rider of the chariot. Neither am I reining that chariot, right? It is our ancestors who are coming and, you know, taking that chariot and driving you through that process. So it's as simple as I can try to put it. So if let's say you're driving a car, you're not the driver. You are just a passenger. It's your ancestors who are actually driving the car. At one point in time, sometimes I also felt that, I'm here, but I'm not here. You know what I mean? I'm just my hands and my legs. My hands are on the steering wheel and my legs are on the gears. But I feel that the car is just running so smoothly that I don't realize that I'm doing anything. The car is just taking me to my destination where I want to reach. And similarly, this is how our life has to flow. So the energy flows that way. So as you know, our energy field is around our aura. Each one of us have all the energies that we, that we can feel and sense. Assuming I'm standing next to you, I will be able to feel your energy, and I will sense whether your energy is also positive or negative. Are you sending me negative vibes, or are you also kind of, I don't want to use the word possessed, but more of, are you in control of a negative energy within you? I believe we have spoken about Tirumular's experience. In Tamil, we say it's kudu vittu kudu payathu, meaning from one soul you can jump into another soul. So I will be able to sense whether there is another energy within you that is disrupting your behavior. So from your psychological behavior, externally, I'll be able to comprehend that you are not Gaurav. There is something else beyond Gaurav, right? So that energy tells me that, and how do I tell? Because I can sense your energy. We all have, different senses, right? Some ways we have, connection with our ancestors. They tell us, but for me, I can just sense automatically there is a danger when I'm standing next to you, because I can sense your energy field. Your energy field tells me that it is not clean, so your energy field has to be cleansed. So that's why in the process of surrendering, we actually go through the healing process, where your energy field also gets cleansed. At the same time, all the souls, unwanted or disturbing souls, also gets removed along the way. So that's why the word surrendering is required, because we have to surrender so that we can cleanse the soul from all this negativity that is surrounding us, irrespective whether the energy is from your past generation lineage, or it's happening here in the physical realm. Sometimes it's a from the lineage it comes down to you, but most of the time we also feel there is a physical existence disturbing us all the time in our aura field. So essentially our aura field is has a lot of energy around us. So in that aura field you can sense your, if you're at the realm where you've already achieved a level of awareness or consciousness, you can also sense the color of your aura. There are many different colors in one person. When I went to Almora, I was able to see all those colors, and they're almost like a northern light. I didn't have to travel to Europe to see northern lights. People spend so much money to go to northern lights. I was researching so much on Swami Vivekananda because he was meditating there in Almora Casa Devi Temple. And I was very curious why he was going there. And I realized that, this is what his experience was. And that area is full of magnetic field. And there's only other two places other than this Casa Devi that you can experience this existence at a from a magnetic field perspective. You can quickly, if you're already a good meditator, you have been meditating for a long time, and you have a guru who's been teaching you, or a teacher, spiritual teacher who has been teaching you, or your own ancestors, you know they will guide you during that time, and they will explain to you also all these concepts, what are they. So essentially, going back to the energy field, it's our energy field around us. We have to keep it protected. That's why I teach on the protection part also, because we have to protect our magnetic field, our aura field, because you don't allow another soul to come into your aura field, because we can get affected. In the ancient days, our grandmothers will always say, or our mothers will always say, that when you go out and come back, you have a eye, people have put eye on you, and those kind of things, and then we kind of cleanse it with our salt, chili, and all of those, right? So that's a good way to cleanse it, right? uh, that's a
We
traditional.
still do with the children actually.
Yes, yes. It's a traditional ceremony, we do it. Yeah. But from a spiritual standpoint, once we have built upon our ancestors' existence, that they are actually here to help us grow and reach our destination, So they will teach you all of this, how to cleanse this aura field without having to do all those traditional ceremony, right? But I still believe those traditional ceremonies do work, right? Because when my mother do it for me, it works, right? Because she's doing it with intention, she's doing it with faith, she's calling upon our ancestors, she's calling upon our god goddesses, right? So essentially she's believing that this thing is going to go away, and yes, it happens. So it's a belief system that you have to establish, and you also have to establish your faith along the way. And faith has to is a test for you. By surrendering, they're just not going to give you everything for free, for sure, right? Um, we spoke about a lot about bartering, right? When we go to a temple, we barter to the god and say, okay, when I pass this test, I will come and do this for you. But then, that's it. That ends. It's not a permanent solution to your existence. The permanent solution to your existence is by surrendering, giving your time and dedication. And there's no parikrama is required, because from my own personal journey, there was no parikrama that was required to be done. I don't know what's the right word in Hindi. Maybe you can, parikrama is like, you do something to cleanse. Go buy this yantra, you keep it in your home in this corner. Everything is, this is something to do with the feng shui and vastu and all of that. It has become a business, right? But does it help? It's not permanent solution. It is only temporary. It's just to make you believe that when you keep it there, it's going to help you. But it isn't physically. Maybe mentally you absorb that energy and say, yes, I'm going to be well when I place this yantra here in my mandir or in my house. I'll be fine. But spiritually, it doesn't get cleansed. We still have the main focus. As you know, my subject is body and soul. Body is physical, the soul is our atma, which is our divine existence in this realm. And this is what we have to totally focus on, which is our atma. When we don't focus on atma, we are not giving time to our soul at all. We are just putting that yantra, assuming that this is going to do magic for us. So I have been through this journey like everybody else, you know, tying things on the tree, if you remember. And somebody will say, "Go tie this thing, everything will be fine." You know, when you go do this, buy this crystal, keep it there, everything will be fine. But if you ask me, I just keep everything now just for ornament purposes. You know, it's just an ornament, decorative piece. But everything else is totally me giving the time, surrendering, and going through the cleansing process. And that's what healing is all about. And this is what the ancient Siddhar also, you know, was teaching at that time. That's what all the conference was happening in Angkor Wat, in Cambodia. If you go, everybody is in a meditative state. And there's a lot of, if you go to Angkor Wat, which is in Cambodia, you see a lot of sculptures of monks, siddhars, everybody in a meditative posture there. It has been sculpted into the temple, and you can see all of them, going through the transformation process. So we
No,
have to transform.
actually, I want, from going from this stream of this, thoughts, I actually want to take you in a bit different direction. Say in Mahabharata, when when the Arjun was into a war with his own family
Family
members,
members, yes.
and, it is written, and we all know that Arjun was in deep confusion, in deep state of confusion,
Yeah.
and also regret and also sorrow and everything, because his basic fundamental idea was that I'm fighting against my own family, I'm killing my own family, and that's also, if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, that's where also where they the Arjun Krishna Samad happens, and Arjun Krishna told Arjun to actually surrender to this process because he told him that you are not doing this. This was meant to be done, and this is happening because of me, because I'm the universe overall. So you are executing it, but it's not your intentions that is making this happen. So in order to get this done, what I'm trying to pinpoint is that Arjun's intention, as you usually focus on intention, Arjun's intention was to not to do something, you know, and then Krishna actually convinced him to surrender to the process and not take it on his own, not think that he is doing this. So that was a one idea of surrendering to the process and let this happen because the destiny had to be that way. Um, Nowadays, the surrendering, the topics on the concept of surrendering that we are talking about, that we usually did discuss and we hear about this, has more of wants achieved with the idea of surrendering. When the wants are connected, wants are the ultimate desire, wants are the ultimate result that we are expecting from the whole concept of surrendering. What makes it does give us? Will it lead anywhere or will it not lead us? In a simple sense, the whole idea of surrendering will be like destroyed by the desires or will it actually amplified by the desires? The intentions, the mind, state of mind.
So what was Arjuna doing at that time is he was not willing to go against his own family, but they were doing wrong, right? So when will this end? Right? We have to end this. So that's why by when he surrendered to Krishna, it's Krishna taking over control over the situation, and he's taking charge of the chariot and making sure that we won this situation. And exactly what we have to apply in our daily life. Even if your own family member is against you, we are not saying you go against and do physical killing. We are not doing physical killing. It's more on your thought process. You are establishing your thought process that I'm going to detach from this drama. I'm going to allow this energy to flow, but I'm not going to be the one who's going to be doing that physical, um, you know, the word is killing, right? So they were trying to kill the other side of the story. So he's essentially not doing the physical part of it, but it was Krishna taking charge and doing it. So by letting that energy flow through him, that whole war ended there, right? So we have to let go. When we let go, we are no longer the doer. So we allow our ancestors to take care of the right situation at the right time. We cannot we cannot continue to let our thoughts go wandering. We cannot let our physical or spiritual being disturbed. Because if let's say we take the Mahabharata situation, if we allowed it, it would have continued for generations, even till now. And that's what is happening in this world today, right? It is continuing because we have allowed it to continue. Once you are in control of those situation, it naturally flows and that situation will end. And we have to put a stop to it. At one point, we have to put a stop to it. And who will do it? It is our ancestors again. And how we do it? It is through surrendering process. We are not taking charge and doing it. We are just a medium of a physical existence being there at that moment and executing it in a physical form. But I'm not the physical form who's executing it. It's my ancestors who are, which is the divine flow that is happening. Do I make sense? Or do you need more examples to take your audience to the next level?
No, and, I mean, it certainly does make sense. But my idea was, that the whole reason why Arjuna was able to conduct the act, successfully, because he actually was not in a state of wanting something out of that act. So he surrendered to the advices of Krishna because of his ultimate belief that Krishna injected in him, that he's not doing it. So there was nothing desired out of from that war by Krishna. But nowadays, see, I'm also taking this in the line of manifestation. My next questions are actually in terms of manifestation itself. So in that fashion, what I'm talking is, does it really, amplify the idea of manifestation if I go through the surrendering way, or are these two different dimensions of the same connecting to the nature of philosophy?
See, what he did was he was allowing Krishna to take charge of the situation. When Krishna came into taking charge of that situation, he actually used his, if you remember, he used his chakra, Sudarshana chakra, right? What is that Sudarshana chakra? It's an energy field. It's an energy field that actually, I kind of lost you in the video. I don't know if you can hear me.
No, no,
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah. So he was actually using the energy field, to pass on the positivity towards the negative side of the situation. But by doing that, they were able to control that situation because the positive always wins. The truth always wins. Okay, it's the energy field, right? I'm sending a positive vibration towards you, for example, right? If let's say you and I are in an argument point, but I sent you positive thoughts, you automatically come to realization, and you also kind of step back, and then you will realize that, oh, I have done a mistake, or Yash has done a mistake, you know so that situation happened in the Mahabharata uh, situation. Okay, but it's more than that, right? Because when you actually kind of give up to this situation, you also take charge and say, I still have to cleanse because I did this wrong, by killing my family cousins, right, or my family members, right? Because it is not right according to the spiritual law. You have to give up on the situation as well. So they actually went to a pilgrimage and did some cleansing, and their sins are cleared, right? Similarly, this is what we have to go through. We when we when we go through this surrendering process, we have to give up all the negative thoughts that we have within us. We have to
No,
ban.
so I'll just like reframe the same thing. We all know the Krishna asked for the samarpan of the center. Surrendering is samarpan in Hinduism.
Samarkand.
So yeah, samarpan. So my point is, what was Arjun actually manifesting at that time? Which got amplified by the act of surrendering, as advised by Krishna.
Surrendering was a byproduct, but he allowed Krishna to take control of the situation. Like in my situation, also during my journey, when I'm going through the healing process, I'm allowing my ancestors to come and heal me because I have already surrendered everything. I'm no longer saying that I have to go and heal myself. Yes, we are learning to heal ourselves, but we are allowing our ancestors to come and heal us because we are surrendering in the process, because we are believing in the process. So the same thing, Krishna situation and the Arjuna situation, right? At that point in time, Arjuna has surrendered completely to Krishna, and he allowed that manifestation to happen. So, in his thought, he has already said, Krishna, take control of this situation. And that was in his spiritual thought or realm, right? But what happened was in the physical manifestation, it took place. So, this is exactly is all about. It can be in any form of when you surrender, it's not just one set of the process. We have a lot of from our own behavior standpoint, it's not just astrology or vastu and all of that. There is also our own behavior, our spoken words, our ego, our anger, the type of food we eat, how we connect with our friends, our colleagues, our neighbors, our family members. Everything matters. There are times I would just keep quiet if anybody says anything, because it doesn't matter to me anymore. You know.
No, actually, I'll
So
just, I know, yeah, actually, if you see, and why I also landed this topic, the whole Let's Krishna Samaris. Even today, if you see the majority of the challenges that on individual basis, like emotional challenges, psychological issues, actually get cultivated because of the family circumstances.
yes,
So, in a sense, it's almost similar because even in this case, you're not fighting against them, but you're fighting from them. You're fighting to gain back your own control, your own sanity. That actually get lost because of the daily routine, because of the family clashes, because of the family issues. Majority of the emotional issues, emotional traumas actually come out of this family settings. So, which is why I felt like I must touch on this topic because it looks quite similar.
yeah,
And in this case also, yeah, in this case also, how the surrendering can actually manifest to my better tomorrow.
yes, yes. It can be is a manifestation from whatever situation you are currently in. Right? If you are depressed, it creates a situation for you. If you're not happy, it creates a difficult situation for you. So always our thought, what Krishna was explaining in that situation is we have to stay focused, we have to win this situation, and you have to surrender in this position. So that from the when you have surrendered in your physical thought, your consciousness start to evolve and you realize that actually there was really nothing wrong. I can just go ahead and just win this war, right? And they were able to. And of course, like I mentioned, Krishna used that magnetic field to send that, you know and win that war, which is actually that Sudarshan chakra. The Sudarshan chakra is nothing but a energy field. It can go and cut any negative field that is out there on each individual. It's a totally another level of discussion. That has to be a separate video, I would say, because it's a very high level. People have to understand this concept. Now we are talking from a basic level of individuals doing a surrendering. But we are not saying use a Sudarshana chakra and go and chop off everybody. No, we are not doing that. But we are sending those to even heal people, even break people away from all those negative thoughts and change the thoughts from negative to positive. So why people behave the way they behave, it is the stemming from whatever that you're undergoing at this point in time. Like you said, it's the family members, right? That's always creating trouble at home, and that gets generated into the physical realm at your workplace, at your with your friends, whoever you're communicating with. So that affects the next person who doesn't understand that you are going through this situation, and end up you are both actually having an argument. But but there was nobody in between that. Actually, the whole scenario started because of the other situation, which is your family situation. But in the war situation, we have to always take a position, right? We always have to safeguard ourselves. So nobody's going to come and save us except ourselves. So that's why we have to surrender ourselves so that we can save our body and soul. And when we especially save ourselves, we get to communicate with our ancestors, and they come for our rescue when we need them. And they give us upfront, what do you call, indications if there is any danger out there for us. So it's very important to kind of pay attention to all this. Yeah, Gaurav.
True. True.
I hope
So actually,
I hope that Mahabharata situation is clearly understood. So essentially, Arjuna is just sitting in the chariot. He's not the doer. The doer was always Krishna, because he was an enlightened ancestor. Let me put it that way. If we want to see him as a god, also he's considered as god, right? But for me, as when you say god, because they transcend birth and death, but there's always birth and death. Like I said, all of us come through our mother's womb, so there's always birth and death. Right? So Krishna took charge of that chariot, and he said, "Let me take charge and do it for you. You just sit quietly here. Do nothing. You don't do anything. You just sit quiet." This is also Ramana Maharishi's, some of Ramana Maharishi's teaching as well. Just don't do anything. Just sit quietly. You know?
there's also a concept in Chinese, I believe, I don't remember the exact words, but it's called effortless living also. I guess Hu and Wei is simply something like that, which also talks about surrendering and effortless living in order to achieve something. Exactly what we were talking about. So you surrender in order to manifest.
Yeah, yeah, correct.
So so
Because when
uh,
you hold it very tightly to yourself, you're not allowing that energy to flow. The energy
hmm,
is trapped. The energy
hmm.
is kind of, not only trapped, it is like, uh, you it's like put it in a bottle, and you have already closed the opener. I mean,
Yeah, like I'm putting too much effort or too much focus in order for it to actually happen it naturally.
yeah,
So it's like I'm blocking the manifestation just by trying to manifest something.
yes,
It's a reverse cycle. So in the same fashion, in the same fashion, like even in terms of the manifestation as we usually see these days, manifesting practices in terms of businesses, in terms of happiness, in terms of career goals. Um, does that surrendering has the same impact for these materialistic goals as well, and or this is a different thing that probably is only being sold in terms of commercialized way? What are your thoughts on that?
when you surrender, your entire process of who you are begins to come into existence much more clearer to you. So when you kind of surrender everything, not just your body and soul, you're also surrendering your job, your career. What is entirely who you are is who you should become. Because when we come into this birth, we forgot, sorry, when we come into this earth, we have forgotten what we came for. We have not taken our avatar here yet. Let me put it that way. Maybe your name is Gaurav, or my name is Yashoda, but we have not taken our real avatar yet to become who we should become here in this pivotal time that we are living in. And only when you do the surrendering it, and you're starting to let go of your old thought process, your old habits, things that you don't need, friends you don't need. Everything will get cleared out of your energy field. Only when all of that gets cleared out of your energy field, only then the new things can come into your perspective into your existence, and you allow all of those to manifest quickly. When I say quickly, it doesn't mean it's like overnight like that, right? There's nothing anybody tells you that things happen overnight. No, it's a gradual process. Even healing is a gradual process, it's not overnight. Yes, our ancestors can come and heal us overnight, but the entire whole process is a gradual process, because we have so much baggages that we have come with, not just from previous lineages, previous generation, but even in this current existence, we have collected so many baggages that we don't realize. When you start to let go, you feel so light. Your body feels so light. Sorry, your body feels so light that like I said, I'm here, but I'm not here. I am just sitting here and doing this video with you. I just feel like I'm just a medium of communication. So essentially, there's so many steps to giving up your clothes, your friends, who's taking up, whoever who is taking up your time, that has to go. That clearly has to go. That is also surrendering process. If you are an angry person, you have to let go of your anger. If you're too emotional on every single subject, you have to let go of that also. If you're giving too much time into just your social media every day, that also you have to let go. When you become wise and you know how to use the social media in a proper manner, then your ancestors will let you come and use it clearly for the purpose it's required, not for your daily you know just getting through the time on a daily basis. I hope, because this
So it's also it's also kind of a lifestyle. It's a choice of lifestyle. Also, exactly like minimalism. You know,
yeah,
if you choose not to keep too much things with you, it's also surrendering is also kind of a way to live. It's entire process of
it's a way
life.
of life.
It's a way
That,
of life.
yeah, basically that's what Hinduism is all about. It's a way of life, right? What we chose is what is manifesting into the, excuse me, into the physical existence. We don't choose to just follow everything we see, right? We don't have to follow every trend that we see in the social media. That's where everything is now. uh, there is an imbalance today, because there's too much of everything today, and people's focus have been taken away completely from the actual surrendering process. They've surrendered themselves to social media today, right? How you
No,
use,
let me. Yeah, I'm sorry. You were saying something.
yeah, how you use the social media, you will start to, once you've already gone through the cleansing process, you will know, okay, I use this social media to teach people. I use this social media to communicate what is what is truth. I only use it for sharing information that will be useful for the growth of other individuals, because you need to push the rest of the people into this side of it, right? As you know, when we climb the mountain, we have to descend, or we go into the essentially we are all in the ocean. We're just going through the current, we're going through the process. We need to reach to the shore, and we have to get the rest of the people also moving along. So, but not to use it for the purpose of what currently today most of the people are using. So there's so many layers to the surrendering. Every single aspect of your life, you have to do introspection. Even your dressing, the way you look, how you want to portray your image to the people, even your haircut, you know or even your clothings that you use, the food that you eat. Do you need to consume so much? you know what about people who don't have any food every day? you know do we need to buy so many things in our home and keep it? Not required, because we're not going to take it with us anyway. you know we're only going to leave it behind for people to find over it. how many plots we're going to buy, how many houses we're going to buy. It's all you're going to leave it behind. Yeah. But it can be used for proper usage. We can use it to create a meditation center, or you can use it for for the people of needy who can't afford. You can give food to them. You can give clothing to them. All of that. So your thought process will start changing from the surrendering process. Each every single aspect of it, day to night, you start to recognize: Am I doing this correctly? Do I need this? I have to start questioning every single thing I do. Then I start to my surrendering happens naturally. First, I tell my ancestors that I surrender to you. That is the first step to the process. But as part of the process, they will test you whether are you totally surrendering, or are you just saying for the sake of saying it. Because like I said, they are not going to come and do it freely for you. You have to give your time and dedication. If, let's say, for example, if somebody is going for a pilgrimage, they just go one time and say, "Oh, thank you very much," and I'll come back the next time. That means that is not truthful. When I will come back in the next pilgrimage, I will do the same thing again. No, that's not right. But when you go back home, you have to practice it. There's no point you doing it only once, and then when you come back, you become the old person again. So essentially, you have to let the whole process go through the entire step by step and cut it down one by one. What is required, what is not required in your life.
Now, from the practical application point of view, for example, like I want something concrete in terms of how people will actually, after watching this video, after watching the video, what they can actually practice in terms of. Since you said that to surrender, you do not need to go out of the home, because majority of the clashes, the majority of the emotional issues, and also since we stay in home for so long a time in a day, in a particular day, that we continue to fall back into the same spiral of negative thoughts, spiral of worries and everything. So how someone can actually start this process of surrendering in context of emotional healing, psychic healing, psychological healing. How from the mental health perspective, how this can actually happen? What are the tools that people have? What are the small things that they can do to design their environments in such a way, or they can maybe move out of the zone, out of the place, change of place. What's your suggestion about some
Yeah.
ideas of people?
So the first step is, of course, you have to say to your ancestors that you are surrendering to them, right? That is the first step completely. And that is part of your meditation process, that you are saying that you're surrendering. But you have to be conscious when you're saying it, you know. And you're allowing them to come into existence, to allow them to help you with the whole healing process, right? Like, for example, I gave you the astrology process, your anger, your behavior, everything. So when you have said that, it doesn't mean that you go back to that, but you have to, every single second of your life, you actually should be in a state of consciousness always, or in a meditative consciousness, I would say, awareness, right? In an awareness state. Okay. And the next process is you have to take a look at what exactly you're doing. Are you taking it and doing it yourself? No, right? You shouldn't be. Because once you surrender, you're telling them, you take care. So let me give this example of how we started this retreat program. We wanted to do this last year, but did it happen last year? It didn't, right? We only started with the one-to-one events. We did a lot of free coachings. We did, so many on-site events and all of that. That is because they're also sending you through the process of coming to the next level. So our next level of the process was retreat program. You see the flow. We started off with all this coaching online for free, and we were giving out a lot of videos. We were also doing a lot of blogs, and in that time we are just going through the we're not actually taking it and doing it. We're going through the flow. We allowed the process to happen. If we had done the retreat last year, it could have been a disaster. Right? People are more ready now, and it's also the energy flow. People have to be ready to receive these retreat programs. They should be at the level that they understand that this retreat program is important to them. I'm not trying to sell this retreat program in this video, so I want the audience to understand that I'm trying to teach the process. If I tried to take it and do it last year in August itself, it didn't happen because the time was not right. People have to be ready because my ancestors know that this is more of a pivotal time where people start to recognize that this kind of retreat is required at this time, because all of them have to go through the process of cleansing and healing, not only from a physical, emotional, psychological perspective, but also physical, illnesses that they're going through, or any psychological behaviors or family issues, etc. So it's the right time because the energy is flowing now. So you see the trend, how the entire surrendering process helped us to come from last year August till now, right? It took almost a couple of months, but it's slowly, gradually manifesting by itself on its own. We're just the doer, right? If you ask me, I'm just the doer. I'm just allowing my ancestors to come and get it done step by step, right? We have introduced Tiruvannamalai, then we introduced Rishikesh. And I also want to add in that these places that we chose is because it's so important. They are part of the one part of the five elements. Tiruvannamalai is a fire element. Rishikesh is towards Ganga River, and it's a water body, and it's a water element, city or town. So it is all a process. They're not. We are not just simply choosing this process, these places. It is also my ancestors choosing these places for us. Right? If you remember, our first event was also in Tiruvannamalai. It's a fire element, right?
Also, the aura and energy of the place also matters a lot, in terms of
Yes.
what you're trying to draw from the place, what you're trying to draw from the activity at that place, the combination of place and
Yes.
activity.
Yes.
That also matters, I believe.
Yes. Yes. So generally, if you will see probably the next retreat might be another element body that will be, and they will decide that. So we are not deciding that. No? It's all I'm leaving it to them to decide everything. I'm leaving everything to their feet to do everything for us. So essentially, it's a whole range of process or step by step we have to go through. It is very difficult. I have to say at the beginning, no, I have to take it and do it. You know, or at the beginning of my journey, I always felt like, no, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do 100 things. But actually, when I let go of all those 100 things, I only had three things to do. And those three things, top three things that I think I need to do or execute, one is the Yash Foundation, and it's just happening naturally because I surrendered in the process. So it is just naturally flowing from an energy level perspective. It is all energy. There's nothing like, we are trying to track certain things into or manifesting into existence. No. We are allowing this energy to flow through and coming into existence. So I think the audience will have to understand that,
No, actually, I mean, you're right. I mean, like I can now, since when you were talking, I can recall the way naturally it has flowed very well for us, in terms of where we started and where this is going. And just for the sake of knowledge, we are already close for the May 16th. Even on my event, it was successfully booked completely. And now our the next booking is open for 30th May. And more importantly, like I seriously sometimes I really feel it's really not we are doing it. It's really happening to us. The way you said, it's happening gradually process. The natural flow of everything. Like the way we receive response for Rishikesh, if the first one is already booked, and we are like now forced to extend the number of seats in the fourth of Rishikesh, 4th June of this year. So that cannot happen by only we trying to overdo ourselves.
Yes.
Sometimes it's really the flow, the surrendering, the manifestation, everything comes in place and work together, and make things happen for us. So,
We think it's magic, but actually it's not. Not.
yeah,
I mean, yeah. If you take the Western world, we'll call it it's magic, but it's actually there's a lot of process that is going through behind, from a surrendering perspective. Because I have surrendered myself so many years ago, and now I'm seeing everything coming into existence one by one. I can feel that I'm not to do anymore. It is all coming into perspective. All the visions that they showed me is all coming into perspective into the physical realm. You know, it is coming in a modern way. It doesn't always necessarily be a traditional style. It is coming in the way that the modern world will receive it, in the way that they can handle, and also in the way that people will utilize it in the way that they need it.
also the aura of Rishikesh is also it has a magnitude of larger than life sort of thing.
Rishi,
Seriously, yeah, like like the places like the Maharshi, the cave. I don't remember. The Maharshi cave is there in Rishikesh, I believe, right?
in where? Sorry.
Which cave? Cave. Maharshi Gufa,
Vashish.
Maharshi.
Vashish Guha.
Vashisht Gufa, Vashisht
Vashish
cave. Right,
Guha. Yes.
right.
Yes.
Like when you go to such places, when you go to such places, you feel like how tiny you are. And also, I believe the surrendering, it's part of the surrender to feel actually that you are nothing against the size of nature.
Yeah.
So that also like contributes everything overall.
If you remember that most of my physical miracles, I would say, because
Yeah, they actually happen in
happened
Rishikesh
in
itself.
Rishikesh. Yes,
Right, correct.
everything happened on a single day. Everything. It was all divinely, I would say, it was a divine play that they have prepared for me for that day. Of course, they don't tell
Correct.
you,
It's
right?
not like yeah, it's not like Bangalore is less a spiritual place, but
But
probably the Rishikesh has something
yeah,
which which pulls you,
yes,
to take
because
your
it's away
spiritual journey to
from
next
all
level.
this technology. It's close to the water body because that's more of our emotional, right? Because we are
Correct.
always emotional as an individual. So it's a water body, and also it's near the mountainside. So it was very easy for them to just come and do a play and show me everything on a single day. It was the Nandi, if you remember, was the major part of the story was the
Correct.
Nandi, but the beginning of the story started with the Vashisht cave, which was where I saw the Rishi come and asking me whether did you receive your Sudarshan. I said yes, and then only from seeing the eyes, I could tell that these are not real individuals who live here, but they have either taken the form of that individual and came and showed that I'm here and I'm talking to you, and essentially when I introspect, it is Vashish himself coming and asking me. And then the next stage of that, the same day, coming back because of the union strike, I was, because I didn't know where my hotel is, and it was my first time in Rishikesh. I followed the family, and out of the blue, I saw this family coming, and I heard the voice. I have to follow this family, and the wife's name was Parvati. Why not some other name? It could have been some other name, right? Of all the million names that is out there, it's a name that I can easily connect to. It could have been another. It should have been Durga or some other name also, but a name that I could recognize. Then the next stage was the Nandi. That bike was, was a divine play. That bike was just coming, and then the Nandi just appearing and putting a stop to the entire process. So they want to show their existence, that they are here to protect us, but we have to surrender to the process. Only then they can come into our physical realm and help us. And they don't want to just simply come and help you, because if you don't, um, I feel sometimes that we don't give time to them, and we don't give enough respect to them, and we have never given enough respect to their wisdom and knowledge that they have acquired, that our current generation doesn't have. Our current generation is totally hooked to the technology world. We have to step away. So Rishikesh is a great place actually to connect to the nature, to the five elements, which is very important. So by surrendering, we are actually allowing these five elements. And overall, if you ask me, as part of this surrendering process, at the end of the journey, you have control over the four elements, which is the earth, water, fire, and the air, which is the what we breathe in and breathe out. And the space is essentially for you to create and to connect with your divine energy. And essentially, that's the end of the entire process. Of course, the other final step is to be in union with your Shiva Shakti energy, or divine feminine or masculine, whatever concept that you believe in. That's it. Because we cannot be imbalanced in our energy. I cannot be too feminine. Then, I will not balance my view. If I'm too feminine, I'll be too emotional, right? If I'm a male, I'll be too aggressive, and I will not be able to balance the soft nature of the feminine side. So that's why that energy of divine feminine and masculine has to be, and that's what we call the Shiva Shakti. And that's the last process that I teach in my coaching. So the first coaching is essentially the healing process. The second process is you have to have faith, because without having faith, just surrendering also doesn't make sense, because you don't have faith in your ancestor who will come and heal you, or come and protect you. When that happened in Rishikesh, it really blew my thought away, because I didn't expect that that's a kind of scenario to come and happen for me. But that really opened up the entire concept of my understanding, that they can just take a form. I have read, I mean, I've discussed this Tirumular story, but I have read those stories. But when you see it in physical realm, they just come and take the form and just come and rescue you anytime. So it means that by surrendering, they actually know that you trust them, and they trust you. It has to be both sides. The trust has to be there on both sides. So the frequency has to match. Both your frequency has to match. Both your ancestor and yourself has to match. And you'll be vibrating in that sense. So it was a complete unexpected situation in Rishikesh, which really, like, even till today, when I look back, I do have another main story that I have to share. And I think when the time is right, I definitely want to share that. I'm sure that's going to blow everybody's thought process, because
Sure, we would wait. We would wait for that thing to actually appear online, and probably. But right now, I'll just take a few minutes more of you, and I actually want to touch the topic of feeling stuckness in life. A lot of the people, including me, sometimes feel, and other people feel most of the time stuck in their life, stuck in their career, stuck in emotional issues, stuck in a specific state of mind where they're not able to imagine, visualize, or even plan for the future. Sometimes not even plan, not so deeply stuck that they are not able to plan even the day. So how the entire act of surrendering can help those people feel out of the situation, get out of the situation, feel unstuck.
When I
Your thoughts?
when I go through the surrendering process, I become so calm. That is the main step to it. I become so calm that I can focus on my day-to-day life. And and also this whole Yash Foundation came about because they gave me the confidence, they gave me the strength that I can do it. Even if I feel that I cannot do it, they give you the strength that I can do it. So if I can do it, even anybody else can do it. Anyone can create a their own business. Of course, we are not greedy. We are not trying to monetize on anything. We are only trying to convey the message here of what this rendering process is and how, by utilizing this process, one can get out of this trap. The mental trap. I call it the mental trap, right? Because we are all trapped in that process thinking that we are no good. We have to get a job. We have to get a 9 to 5 job, or we have to only do this kind of job. So we have to get away from that and tap on the calling and tap on the energy and do the passion that we are passionate about for whatever true life purpose for what we came into this existence, which is in my case is the Yash Foundation, and for the rest of you also will be the same. Every person has a true life calling. If you don't tap into this, then as you need to come back again. Why not now? We tap now and we can change that. Age is not a barrier. Even if you're 80, you can achieve it. Even if you're 90, you can achieve it. Health is not a matter. We just have to surrender to the process. And it all start to fall in place one by one. And it will happen naturally. We don't even have to push, it just comes naturally. Yes, there'll be some difficult times that we go through, and for that also, they are there to give you the comfort that it's going to happen. I don't want to use the word hope because hope is totally different. Hope is just like clinging on to something, but it's not happening. Manifestation is like when you surrender, everything come into existence into you because you surrendered to the process. You also believed in the process. You also have faith in your ancestors that they're going to do it for you, and you knew this is who you have to become. When you know who you are, you know your true life purpose. And this is what whole concept of mine, which is called the Master Your Heritage Living, is all about. The 5 stage of the process. Go through the healing, go through the process of faith, go through the process of knowing who you are, what is your life purpose, and balance that energy. And in that process, you will go through that enlightenment process also. That's part of the process. So you understand that this is all there is to it in this lifetime that we have to achieve. It looks like it's though it's too much, but I was able to do it. Others can do it too. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that we want you to become a teacher or a guru or all that. No, your true life calling will tell you what exactly you have to become. What is the next step in your life that you have to become. So in that process, you are actually becoming who you are. Who am I? Right? Like I said, we have to take up an avatar of who we are. No? Not that social media avatar, but we have to take up the avatar of who we really are. That
Well, that's the whole search who we are.
Yes, and that starts with the surrendering process. Only when you surrender, because otherwise you only say, "Oh, I'm Yashoda, I'm Gaurav," and that's it. It's just a name. But what is that soul divine came here for? That is who we are. It's
Sorry.
it's probably too deep. I think there's need for more, teaching, and I hope the audience will love it and they will start to understand this process. This is a lot of layering that we have to really slice every single, just like slicing a cake. You have to like start slicing every single one of it out of your life. Required, not required.
Well, I understand due to because of the limitations of this platform of this matter, we cannot, talk about all the methods, all the practical application ways that you cover in your programs also
Yes.
here right now. But again, like the learnings about the surrendering process here was um, no way shallow, I would say, and I would say the whole idea of surrendering actually has to be more more in a natural flow. The way that we discuss, the natural flow has to be.
Mm.
So you cannot, it will be worse if you try to if you even force the idea of surrendering to yourself. If you don't feel like surrendering, probably it's not the right time for you. Probably time will come, nature will come to you, nature will tell you that it's time
Yeah.
to go calm and you just jump into
Yeah,
this scenario.
just on the word of not the right time. Yes, I took up the Bhagavad Gita very long ago. At that time, I read it fully, but it wasn't my time at that time. I did finish that book, the entire Gita, but I felt like that's not my time yet. I knew it was not my time either at that time. I still have to go through other processes in my life. And then when the time came, when I took up the book, the Bhagavad Gita, the understanding was totally different. My level of consciousness was totally different because I was practicing my meditation every day. So when I read every single word, it just hits my soul. When it hits my soul, I understood it very quickly. I understood every single meaning of it. Now, if you ask me, to me, I don't remember every single page, shloka, and I don't get to that level now because I understood the meaning of that Gita, how I should live my life, and why I came here for, what is the purpose I came here for, and like I said, this is Yash Foundation, one of it. As you know, I have other aspect to my perspective that is coming in the future, but this is one of them. So we have to go through the process, entire process. So when I took that book, I felt like, oh, okay, this is not. But I went through so many different books, so that gave me a lot of perspective into meditation, what is Siddhar's way of life. And I also read the other ethnic, religious books as well, scriptures, so that I understood the meaning. And that's how I came along. And every single step of the process, my ancestor was with me. When I tapped into them, I start to realize that I have to really surrender completely. And I used to ask myself at that time, why me? But now I ask, why not me? Why not me? And I'm saying it very in a humble way because I'm feeling so humble that they believe in me that I can do this. And I'm here for this right time, at this right moment that people
Right.
really, really need. Because as you see in the news, there's so many people who are just taking away their life, so many things that is going on in the external world that is affecting us. How do we have first have to live this complete life and finish it off. But at the same time, how do we go through this entire day? Right? Every day there's something. It is very difficult, yes. And but they are there to take us through that journey. And I didn't in the beginning I felt like it was a lot for me, but I didn't have a physical person teaching me, but I'm connecting with my ancestors. So yes, in the beginning for my meditation, I just learned the basic of meditation. That was from a physical teacher. But when I was going through this deep journey, it was all through my ancestors. And it feels like I'm me and my ancestors, right? And I had to give up a lot. I had to give up a lot of my time in learning, especially the learning part was a lot. And I was like, oh my God, why I have to study this? But when you study this, and then when I go look out, as in like see in the physical world what exactly is happening, my eyes opened up to so many things. I knew everything, and I now know everything, and I'm still. I wouldn't say that I would say I have. They've shown me everything I need to know that exists in this world, both positive and negative. That's going on. So I'm so thankful and grateful for that. I feel like I'm so glad I'm done with it. you
And
know.
I'm thankful for you for giving us this time today in such a depth explanation of the idea of surrender. So it was really a wonderful session today, and so much to learn from you on this subject. As a
We can talk
closer,
about touch healing as well, touch therapy. Do we want to discuss about that? About 2 minutes about touch therapy?
sure, please,
Yeah,
please.
because apart from just being a spiritual teacher, as you know, I'm a spiritual healer. I also send healing, distant healing to my, clients, to my parents, of course, my, our family members, and all of that. And I also, focus on specific mantras where people cannot immediately sit into meditation. The mantra helps them. You know. As you know from the client reviews, some of the clients actually use the mantra Om Namah Shivaya, and when they were going through the pain, when they when they chant that mantra, they didn't feel any pain at all during their illness. So it's you see that gravity of expansion of this magnitude of the energy field. That even that little mantra is helping them. So from I also gathered a lot of teaching how to do physical healing as well. It's not a Reiki modality and all of that. All this came from my ancestors. They actually transferred this energy to me, and I thank them for that. And I actually do physical healing, but for now I'm more concentrated on um, teaching everybody how to get through this phase of life because it's so important. And I'm wanting them to learn this process instead of me doing it for them. The reason is because when you do it for them, you feel that they don't give respect to that process. And this is exactly what our ancestors also feel that people are not giving respect to the wisdom and knowledge that they're trying to transfer. So only when you are in that vibration and frequency and you respect the wisdom and knowledge, they just transfer the even the energy field to you and for you to send that healing. So, some of the clients, when they come on, even that's why when they come on day one, they can sense my energy. They can sometimes see light. Even they are able to see the Jyoti is a big transformation for a person who has never done a meditation before. That's because they are showing my transformative energy towards them. I'm just sitting there, but it's my clients seeing those things during the sessions. So that is how. So the physical healing happens if really somebody really needs it. I will definitely grant those physical healing if necessary. But I try to use that only for the purpose of if there is an emergency is required. But the modality of other processes where other people are using it is totally different. This is totally transferred to me from my ancestors. So it comes naturally. Gradually, it came gradually after after the cleansing process. They transfer this energy, and then you actually can heal the people. Sometimes If you recognize, when we have a cut, you see the heel and our cells actually heal naturally. You know, you know, when we are young, if you remember, we don't go to the doctor, right? We just feel that, okay, this is just a small cut. It will just, that is how we have to believe that is going to happen. When you are in the believing process and when you are having the faith with our ancestors, it just naturally heals. So that is exactly the healing process that takes place. But whether everybody will receive this energy, I, it's up to the ancestors, right? Because they have first established that spiritual, because it is a spiritual law, essentially,
Correct.
right? It's a spiritual law. And also you get control of all the four elements. This is what the Siddhar actually achieved it in their lifetime. They were able to turn, the alchemist, if you remember the alchemist book, it talks about, finding the treasure, or changing the Harry Potter philosopher's stone, right? These are not just novel. These our Siddhar have practiced it before. They are able to change brass to gold, lead, you know, metals to gold in physical realm. I'm saying it's a physical, actual existence. This is what we have to evolve to become. Not because we're going to turn metals now into gold, but I'm saying this is the process we go through when we become like a gold. But of course, when you have that energy, you can also do this transformative process as well. And that's why those medicine actually work. When the Siddha used to just, crush those herbs and give it to you, you heal. Because they are putting the energy and thought into that process, and that herb is working in your body. Even if you take the Shirdi Baba, there's one story also, if I remember very clearly in that book. It says, because I also read that book, apart from the Gita, I also read that book and many other books, many other scriptures I mentioned. And in that process, Shirdi Baba will grind the flour because the whole town was going to be affected by cholera. But what was he doing during the grinding? He's actually putting his thought process into it. So, and then he will tell the villagers, and the villagers will just go through the flour and come back. But they don't realize that flour is actually stopping all the cholera to come into the. How is it happening? Because it's the thought. Just like how Arjuna allowed Krishna to, let this war be won. Same concept here. So the same thing with the touch therapy, which is the healing process, physical healing process.
Sure. True. So Yash, thank you very much for your time today. It
Thank you
was
very
really
much.
wonderful learning and exploring the deep topics with you on surrendering and manifestation and emotional healing and everything. Um, Before we end up this video, I actually have to make a common announcement that we are now bookings are open for those who are like wanting to travel to South India and want to explore the real essence of Shiva. Also, can choose to go for Trivanamalai, which is the next retreat is happening on 30th May. And of course, those who are like across the in North America and no, sorry, North India and want to go for the Rishikesh thing, that's all about Shiva, Rishikesh. So they can actually go for the retreats on 4th June and the 9th also for Rishikesh. So bookings are open for both of the places, both of the retreats now, and that's it. So yes, thank you very much for your time again, and hope to catch you again on another deep discussion